Buon pomeriggio, beautiful people. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about my gut health / my journey into improving my gut health. And yeah, I just wanted to share with you as best as I can exactly what my symptoms are or what I have, and then what happened or why did I start looking into gut health, and what I'm doing currently and what I plan to do in the future. But yeah, I just wanted to start with saying that obviously I'm not a nutritionist, obviously I'm not a doctor, I am not a professional in the field, so I can only share the journey from my perspective and what my symptoms are, and as well what my nutritionist said or what I read that nutritionists have written. And so I will try to link as much as possible, but by no means this is exhaustive, or what I think is right for me might be A, right for you, and B, right at all. As in, just because I read some research or I came to the conclusion that's what I should do doesn't mean that I'm right. So yeah, I'm just sharing basically what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And then of course, if you have any hard evidence and studies and you can tell me, listen Bella, this is wrong or you should do that, then 100% leave it in the comment section below, because I'm here to learn and I'm here to, you know, understand more and better about this topic. But yeah, so this is just my perspective, and I hope to be insightful and I hope to be helpful. And even if you have symptoms that are not related to mine, maybe this video helps you be like, okay, I'm gonna look into what I have and I'm going to look into what I can do for me. So if it's sort of like an inspo, then that's the whole point of this. So I'm going to try to be as concise as possible, and as well like keep the hand gesture to a minimum, because I do tend to move a lot. But yeah, and as well, if you see me looking down, it's because I've literally wrote down like post-its with like points that I want to come across, because I didn't want to either miss something or stop blabbing for hours. So I want to start with saying that basically for the past, I want to say 4 or 5, even 6 years, I always had these problems of being bloated and having cramps after eating, which I know that like people want to normalize it. I think it has to do hand in hand with like body image and not wanting to feel embarrassed if you're bloated or if your tummy is expanded. So I'm not saying that that shouldn't be normalized. However, I did read and I did hear a lot of nutritionists saying it is normal to bloat if you have that one meal a month that you're having, you know, something super fried or something like that you don't usually have in your diet, or if you're like doing something out of the norm. But having a constant bloatness for every single meal, every single day, for years and years on end, that is not normal. And it has nothing to do with whether you eat clean or not, whether you work out or not. It has more to do if your gut health is healthy, and if the bacteria and the acid and everything that has to do with the digestive system from literally the mouth to the bottom, if everything is going correctly, then one shouldn't be bloated. And actually bloatness and cramping, it's my body telling me that something is wrong. Then, as I said, cramping. So every time I will eat, I will start like having cramps in my stomach, but as well I will have like a pain in my esophagus, to the point that obviously I know that people burp, and I know that like, yeah, okay, like technically you're not meant to burp in front of people and whatnot, but if you burp, like that's totally normal. However, I will have this like pain in my esophagus that if I didn't burp, it would literally feel like I was being stabbed. So it wasn't just like discomfort, it was just literally like if it didn't somehow incline my body on a certain angle to let that air that was stuck in my esophagus go up, I would literally feel sick and it would almost want me to throw up. Like I would literally feel like I couldn't deal with it. Besides like the skin problem, so I always had like spots and breakouts in my skin since I can remember. Like I think even when I was 7 years old I had it, but it never ceased. And as well, and I'm going to get as honest as possible and as transparent as possible. So if this is whole video is too TMI, I understand, but I'm just going to give you like all the information, but I have been constipated regularly for the past 6 years of my life. So I think it was like the last year of high school when I was 17, so more than 6 years then. That's when I started, instead of going regular every day, I would go once a week, or maybe if I was really lucky, twice a week. And it wasn't like periods of time. I like, for the past 6 years straight, I've gone to the toilet just once, maybe twice a week, every week. And so I've seen numerous GPs specific about constipation. They will be like, just take a laxative. I think we did do some like blood tests just to see if I had any intolerances, and nothing like just came up to them being like, you seem healthy. They saw like everything was pretty normal, so just take a laxative and that's it. And that happened like with 3 or 4 GPs now. So they were constantly sort of like trying to relieve the symptoms, but they would never fix what caused it. They would never investigate what the root cause is. And I don't think that has to do with like the GPs itself. It's just like they don't have the time to just try everything with me and just like take my hand and walk me through all the different things that I have to do to solve the problems. They would just like, hey, you have this problem, I give you the solution to make you feel better, and that's it, next patient. Like, that's normal. And then other symptoms that I had was I developed severe allergies to the point that I was basically resuscitated at the hospital. So I've eaten mango, for example, my whole life, and then 4 years ago now we know, but I ate a mango, went to the gym, and I was like warming up at the gym, and I suddenly felt fainting. I felt like I was itchy all over. I was like, okay, let me go home, let me shower, and let's see. And I fell unconscious in the shower, and as soon as I woke up, I lost my vision, and I couldn't hear, and I couldn't talk. And thank God my fiance was there. We went to the hospital. They like literally had to resuscitate me because I like fell unconscious I don't know how many more times, and they gave me adrenaline. And then we did the blood test when I was saying basically everything I ate that day up to the point of me having that accident. And the only thing that rang a bell was mango. They gave me EpiPens, and they're like, the next time you eat mango is gonna be worse and you're gonna like not breathe and all of that. But on top of that, they said that wasn't the only thing that caused it. So even today, I am allergic to more things, but I don't know what they are. So for example, the other day I put some new oil on my skin, and I had another allergy reaction when I was feeling like I couldn't breathe and all that. And obviously there was no mango in the ingredients, so still we don't know why do I have all these allergy reactions. It's something really recent and new. And then the other symptoms is, and the last symptoms is that I am constantly tired, and even if I sleep 8 hours or whatever, I had this constant tiredness, and I was constantly weak. And as well, especially like in university, I just got very anxious, and I just feel this anxiety and stress that comes like very deep in me. So yeah, so this is everything that I could think of that was wrong with me. And so I think one of the times that I went to walk, I was like in a mood of like, oh, let's learn something today, instead of putting music on. And I went into Spotify and I saw the Digatology podcast, and I was like, okay, that sounds cute. Literally, that sounds cute. The logo was cute. I was like, let's click on it. And when they were saying the first episode, and they were talking about just how the digestive system works and things like that, and one of the people in the podcast, she's a functional nutritionist, and they were saying that all the symptoms, between others, okay, but like all the ones that I had, they were like, that is not normal, and that has something to do with your gut health. So I was like, what? And so then I coincidentally, I think a week after, Robbie Gallant, she released a video talking about her gut health, and none of her symptoms or none of her problems have nothing to do with mine, or the majority of them are not related with mine. But again, it just made me click that maybe there's something I can do about my symptoms, and maybe if I do research about it and hear more about it and just educate myself on this topic, I can fix the problems that I have. And so this brought me to right now, where I am basically changing my diet or changing my habits to target the main points that I want to deal with first, the main bits that I think that are very important for me to solve and just understand what is going on. So the first thing that I started research about it was constipation, because it's something that, you know, I struggle with every day, and it's something that it makes me feel quite literally heavier. I mean, it just, I don't want to be like too explicit, but obviously if you don't go to the bathroom often, all of that stuff is still there, right? So I wanted to deal with that, and in the podcast they were mentioning a few sort of ways to facilitate the digestive system to be more regular. They were saying to check the amount of fiber that you have every day, which I know I have enough. They were also saying that if you have a low-fat diet of healthy fats, that doesn't help with constipation. And by the times I've tracked my macros, I know that I tend to have a low-fat intake every day, just because I naturally don't put, let's say, too much olive oil, or I don't really eat nuts or avocados, or I don't really have often salmon. Like, all these things don't help with constipation. But as well, another thing that they said that was very much related to both constipation and bloating is having a low acidity in your stomach. And so they enumerated a few ways to check whether you have low acidity, because the tricky thing is that if you have low or high acidity, both ends of the spectrum have the same symptoms. So you can have acid reflux, you can this, you can like all these symptoms that have to do with a abnormal level of acidity are exactly the same whether you have too much or too low. So yeah, I had done a little of a test with some tablets, and that if you take it at the moment that you have your highest acidity level, so right before a big meal, if you feel like burning sensation, then it means that your acidity is too high. However, mine was too low because I didn't feel anything. And as well, you can tell because if after eating, if you're having the acid reflux and you drink something acidic like lemon juice or apple cider vinegar, and that helps, then again, because you have added that acidity and it alleviated the symptoms, then it means that you don't have enough acidity in your stomach and you need more, or you need to restore it. So yeah, that was again related with constipation and bloating, which I found it very, very insightful and I didn't know about. So yes, it just made me realize once again that it's not normal, that there are some problems that come with being constipated and bloated all the time, which again I'll link below. So yeah, it's something that I really wanted to tackle, and I will say after exactly what I'm doing. The other thing besides constipation and bloating that I figure out, or like resound to me when I was hearing this podcast, was about IBS. So IBS is irritable bowel syndrome, and basically it's a group of problems. So if you have IBS, it's not necessarily that you have one problem, it's just many problems that are completely different or very far apart from each other are all grouped under IBS, because that is the symptoms, that is the functional problem that they all cause, which is an irritable bowel. And so again, when they enumerated that no matter what problem exactly you have, the common traits that tell you, hey, you have IBS, is having cramps, being bloated with gases, so either up or down, being either constipated, or again, the other end of the spectrum, having diarrhea all the time, and then finally having all these symptoms more than once a week for over 6 months. And as I mentioned, I've been having this for the past 6 years, so definitely a problem, and definitely something that I think I am basically related, or I'm having a irritable bowel. And then finally, as I keep mentioning, stress and anxiety basically do not only cause having problems, gut health problems, but are caused by gut health problems. So it's sort of like a vicious cycle. It's all related, and something that, yeah, it was very educational to really figure out how everything is related. Even how much sleep you get and how much energy you have is all really interrelated, and caused by and causing problems. So that's something that, yeah, I really wanted to approach. So finally, I'm gonna explain exactly what I'm doing in terms of diet and to target what. So first of all, something that they recommend, any nutrition I've talked to, they recommend that if you want to improve your gut health and you want to just repair it like naturally without doing anything, the first step to do is to live at least 12 hours between meals. So basically, if your last meal was at say 7 or 8 p.m, you shouldn't have breakfast the day after until 8 or 9 p.m. to leave at least 12 hours of a break for your stomach to be able to just heal, to like stop wasting all the energy into digesting food and instead finishing the digestion and then focusing on to restoring the bacteria, focusing to restoring the acidity levels, like just having time to recover basically. And the other factor is very, very important whenever you want to start the gut health journey that have been advised was to having your last meal at least 3 to 4 hours before going to bed. Again, to just minimize how much your stomach or your digestive system is under stress so that it can then heal overnight while you're sleeping and you just can focus on that. So because these things are things that one should do regardless, if you want to just ensure that your gut has a chance to heal. But on top of that, if you want to really reset and especially target the IBS, they recommend to expand that 12-hour window to 16, so sort of doing basically intermittent fasting. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just eating from 11 a.m. until maximum 7 p.m. just so then I can still have from 7 p.m. to around 10, 11 when I go to bed, time to digest, up to the day after 11 a.m. when I have my first meal. So that is something that it really helped. It helped again with the bloatness and it helped with my cramping, but most importantly, it's just letting my stomach have a rest because I was a cereal muncher. Like I would snack all day long from the second I woke up to the second I went to sleep. So yeah, that didn't help. And another thing I decided to improve the gut health and really stimulate the repairing is to have bone broth. And I'm going to talk about my grocery hauls at the end of the video. I'm going to talk about all the foods that I buy and why I buy it later. But just so you know, I don't buy bone broth just because it's really expensive and it's really hard to come by, so I do it myself. I will try find it and I'll probably link down below the recipe to do it, but basically in short terms, you buy a organic free-range whole chicken, you roast it, you have your roast dinner as always, and then you keep the bones and you boil them for pretty much 12 to 24 hours with a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and that's it. And then you keep the liquid and that's your bone broth. So very, very easy. But yeah, that is something that every single source I've read said that it's really important to have bone broth and incorporate it daily on my diet. So that's what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm doing it myself because I'm not paying for that and I can't even find it even if I wanted to. So yeah, that's a little tip for you. Then to combat again the acidity problems, what basically they told me to do is, because I'm making sure to eat in a shorter window, they say do not eat more often than every 3 hours, because in those 3 hours, not only you can digest the previous meal, but as well you are starting to be hungry, so that gives your whole body the cue that you're about to eat, and so it starts producing acid in the stomach, quite literally. And so if you munch every few hours, that the body never has time to accumulate enough acid that you need to digest the meal that you're about to have, and that's why you have low acidity problems. So yeah, what I'm doing is ensuring to distantiate and separate my meals at least every 3 hours in that like tiny window that I have to eat. And as well, they're saying not to dial it down with water. So I will have as much water as I want in the morning. I will have as much water as I want in like an hour after my meal, but never an hour before my meal and never like during my meal, because if I already have too low acidity levels, then if I put water, I'm gonna make it even worse. So that is something that I'm doing. And as well, on top of that, they basically recommend me to drink 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar around like 20 minutes before having a meal. That did help a lot and I can definitely feel it. And because of the acidity level, again, it goes hand in hand to constipation. If I don't do it, the day after I don't go to the toilet. So it's honestly that easy. It's like that clear to me that I have low acidity problems, and so yeah, that is something that I'm doing and it's working, so I do recommend it. And then the other thing they said is to incorporate like sour foods. So whether it's like having rocket in your salad, olives, or having as well like sauerkraut or anything like acidic. If you as well incorporated that in your meal, then even better, because that just adds acids basically. Another thing to treat constipation is having either flax seeds or prune juice, or as I mentioned, enough fiber in your diet. So I'm adding flax seeds into my oats, and I'm having prune juice as well. And then finally, on top of that, again, I will link it down below, but basically to tackle IBS and making sure that my body can recover, they recommend to eliminate quite a few groups for just 3 to 4 weeks, and then slowly incorporate them back into your diet one by one, noting down whether there are any symptoms that float. So the things that they recommend to eliminate are wheat and gluten, dairy, so milk, cheeses, yogurt, all of that. Obviously caffeine and alcohol, as well as sugar, sweeteners, onions, and garlic. So just eliminate them completely, not even a trace of them, for 3 to 4 weeks, and then just incorporate them back together. So I'm not like gluten-free or dairy-free forever for the rest of my life just because I have IBS, but it's just a way for my body to sort of reset, heal the gut, so that when I introduce them back slowly and gradually, then my body is more like normalized to it and it won't flare up. And they say that that's how you can then basically have a normal diet, and you can just eat normally without having to restrict yourself, without having to eliminate anything and be scared of certain type of food. And that's what they recommend doing. And I'm actually on my 3rd week now, so technically I have another week to go. And to be honest, it has been really easy, surprisingly. The only thing I miss, and I have to be quite honest, is coffee. I love coffee. Like, it's not even the caffeine. I realize I don't really need caffeine, but having that coffee with milk, and I like a little bit of sugar, but sometimes not even that, just coffee with milk is just, it speaks to me. I don't know if it's because I'm Italian, it's just, I just love it. So that's the only thing I've been missing. All the sugars, don't care about. Sweeteners, don't care about. I can have pastas and breads and rice and potatoes as soon as they don't have any wheat or gluten. So that hasn't been an issue. So I'm definitely not doing any low carb or anything like that. The only thing I'm having when I'm fasting in the morning, leading up to my first meal, is tea, decaf tea with oat milk. And for the rest, has been really easy. I mean, yeah, onion and garlic and things like that. It's just because I used to have them in my recipes quite often, but it's very easy to eliminate. So it's nothing crazy, nothing that you can't do, but it has definitely made a huge impact to how I feel. I'm never bloated anymore. Like, all these steps that I said helped me not being bloated. I never felt sick after eating in the past 3 weeks, not even once. And that to me has been mind-blowing. Like, getting rid of that feeling of being starved every time I ate, be able to go to the toilet every day. Even my energy level are much better. So yeah, I feel like it's worth it, and I feel like it's only the beginning, because right now I'm just concentrating on restoring my gut health and just getting there. But then I guess there is also a lot of work that has to be done into incorporating back the foods, making sure that my whole daily nutrition is normal without having any of those symptoms. So I think that's going to be the hard bit. And as well, yeah, maintaining the gut health and ensuring that I don't do anything to basically destroy all the hard work that I'm doing right now. But yeah, it's been really eye-opening. It has been great. I feel better, and I think that dedicating a few hours researching and understanding exactly what your problems are and what you can do to solve them without having to take supplements or pills or anything like that, just like going to the root cause and just fixing that. That's the best thing that you can do for both short term and long term, because as I said, some things I felt them straight away. So yeah, that is crazy to me, and I don't think I want to go back into not caring. I think now it has been embedded, assimilated into my head that I need to eat in a way that is functional. Like, I don't care anymore about calories. I don't care anymore about anything. I'll only eat with the sole purpose of basically restoring my gut health and be healthy inside. So yeah, I'm going to, as I said, link below all the resources. I'm going to link below the podcast. I can't express enough how good the Gutology podcast is. Of course, everything they say I want to verify first, right? Because she's a nutritionist and everything, but like you want to make sure that whatever you're gonna start doing, there is a reason why you're gonna do, right? So she says everything that you should do and why, but I do research a little bit about it before I do it, and it's going great. So I will definitely, again, link the Gutology podcast below so that you can as well start listening. They have a website as well, and you can chat with some nutritionists on the website chat, and that has been helpful a lot. And then the last thing I wanted to mention about is the quality of foods that I've started buying for this journey, and I have changed a lot in the way I buy food. They stress a lot about the importance of organic food, and I know it's more expensive and I know that it's not accessible. Like, I spent hours researching where to buy organic food from in the UK that don't cost you basically a kidney. Even when I saw Robin Gallant's food haul, that's expensive and that's not necessarily accessible to anyone. And so I did a little bit of research and I come up with a few things that maybe can help you if you want to start buying organic food. And as well, I'll do a haul as soon as I have a delivery coming tonight, and I'll show you everything. But basically, meats, I think, is non-negotiable. I think meats have to be organic. And I think that it's better to have a less quantity of like the amounts that you eat to make my monthly spending on meat the same. I would rather eat less but eat good quality meats because of all the additives and the hormones that they give him and the food that they give them. I think that to me, at least personally, that is not negotiable. So all the meat and all the eggs and the fish that I buy from now on is going to be organic. But then in terms of vegetables is a different thing. So I will link it down below, but basically every single year they test the amount of traces of contamination and toxins and whatnot that is in the fruits and veg. They take all this food that is not organic and they list it from the dirtiest all the way to the cleanest. And every single year they come up with the dirty dozen and the clean 15. So that if you want to buy organic, but you don't have the money to buy everything organic, you can at least basically leave your money for those foods that have the highest traces of contamination and then save the money for the ones that, even though they're not organic, they barely have any traces at all. So I will leave it, as I said, linked below, because I think, yeah, that's important. So if you can't afford to buy everything organic, at least you can buy the ones that usually have the highest traces of contamination. I will show you later exactly what I buy, and I will do a little haul about the food, but basically this is everything I have. This is all the resources I have, all the tips that I have. I do have a week and a bit left of my elimination diet, so I thought it would be useful for some of you if you want to do it but you're kind of scared, oh my god, what am I gonna eat? So I thought to do like a what I eat in a day video where I can show you exactly a few ideas of my meals without all those foods I have eliminated for now. And so you can just see that at the end of the day it's quite filling. I eat a lot, at least 5 different vegetables per meal. So yeah, it is very colorful, it is very fulfilling, like, again, no restriction on quantities whatsoever, just eating to feel better, not eating for a body shape. So yeah, I will probably do a what I eat in a day video so I can give you some ideas. And yeah, that's everything that I have to say. I'm looking now that I've been blabbing for 1 hour, and I think this video is going to be an hour long, so sorry. I will put some like timestamps or something in the description box to help. But this is everything I have. Again, before doing anything, of course, do your own research. If you have to ask your doctor, ask your doctor. If you want to just dive in and do it, do it. Like, it's your life, it's your body, it's whatever you want to do. But yeah, this is what helped me, and these are the resources I personally trust to do for myself. So yeah, if it helps you in any way, or if you have any comments or any tips or anything, just let me know. And yeah, I will wait until tonight for when the food delivery comes for a few little bits, and I can tell you exactly what I buy from where, and I assure you they're all supermarkets that you can have access to. So I will talk about that later. And yeah, I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so the order has just arrived with the meat, but just a little preface before I show you the grocery haul. We usually shop at Tesco, so whenever I was looking for organic food online and to just see where I could get it from, I literally went to each website, so like Tesco, Aldi, Sainsbury's, Waitrose, M&S, Ocado, like I went to all their websites and I literally started comparing per item, like every item, where it was cheaper per gram or per kilo and all of that. And actually, vegetable and meats, compared all of them together, is actually cheaper at Sainsbury's, and it also has more variety. And even compared with Ocado, it was way cheaper and just simpler. However, I went into the, as I said, Waitrose website, and they ran out like a sale, and they had a few items on sale or like a discount, and the discounted price was per gram cheaper than Sainsbury's, which was the cheaper overall when at full price. So I went ahead and I just ordered a few staples from Waitrose and just like bulk orders. So I had all the organic meats and the whole organic chicken and all of that. And so I could freeze it, I could just store it, and then I will show you the rest of the stuff I got. So first of all, hi Leo. So here we have a few frozen stuff. So as you will see in the Clean 15, this kind of vegetables don't need to be organic. However, as I said, it wasn't discounted, it was cheaper, so I got them anyway. Then for salmon, the whole organic chicken and things like patties and beef balls, those I just got them, and as soon as the offer is over, I will just switch to Sainsbury's instead. Blueberries, they are in the Dirty Dozen together with raspberries and strawberries and things like that. So yeah, I just got them now that I could find them on sale, because organic berries are very expensive. Then we have as well some almonds, and I already have some walnuts because, as I said, I need some healthy fats to incorporate in my diet to be basically better with constipation, all of that. Then I got some whole grain rice, which again is gluten-free and wheat-free, so I can have it. This is just for my partners. And as well, I just got some stock up of stuff because I wanted to start becoming a little bit more eco-friendly and just, you know, better in that sense. So I got that because it was on sale. So this is everything from Waitrose. If I go to my fridge, there you go. All the stuff, as you see, it's from Tesco, because by the time I did the comparison with Sainsbury's, I already bought a few things. So whenever I finish them off and I finish Waitrose, I will just have an order from Sainsbury's. But typical salad, broccoli, carrots, courgette, manjitut and things like that. Then as well, here we have some organic kale, which is really, really good to have as well. Very important to have organic. Organic salad, organic bell peppers, some more courgettes, some tender broccoli. I think broccolis and things like that are not meant to, or it doesn't really matter if they're organic or not, but I just, you know, they were on offer, so why not? Some prawns. These, as I said, I don't know if you saw my previous video, these are really, really good. Again, more expensive, so if you can find them on offer, it's better. But tonight we actually had the sausages from Naked Sausage, I guess they're called, and we had them with some sweet potato mash, some kale, and some sauerkraut, and it was delicious, and I really recommend doing it, and it's really, really easy. And then as well, here I've got some more bell peppers, mushrooms, and just overflowing of little bits like cherry tomatoes, a few organic fruits like pears and avocados down there. Then these dairies are all for my partner because they're just there because he keeps having it, obviously. And then I've been snacking with some hummus with some cucumber. I'm getting used to sauerkraut. I don't really used to like it a lot, but I'm slowly, you know, warming up to it, and it's actually really nice to have on the side and really good for the acidity. And same with the olives, really, really good to have olives to ensure that I have enough soury element in my meals. And then of course the typical almond and oat milk. Whenever I can find the Tesco one, that's fine, but
just bear in mind that if you eliminate sweeteners and sugars, things like oat milk and coconut milk and almond milk, they do tend to have high sugars. So yeah, bear in mind. As I mentioned, I have oats, but I bought these sprouted organic ones, which are way better for you, and they have many more, you know, nutrients, and just, yeah, much better. This was really hard to find. I went to the website of Holland & Barrett, I went to every supermarket, I even found them on Asda's website, but when I went to Asda, they weren't there. It was a whole thing. And so I finally found these specifically on Amazon, and of course if you subscribe you save a percentage, so yeah, I will link them down below, and they're really good. And then as well, I got from Asda this flaxseed, which again is organic. I just put them like a tablespoon or a little bit more after I cook the oats, and yeah, that's what I have. And finally we have as well here some at least free range, but most importantly organic eggs, which I have every morning for the healthy fats. These are my partners. And then here, I don't know if you can really tell, but we have some organic potatoes, which are very important, and just some normal sweet potatoes, which, you know, to alternate a little bit with the rice.
So yeah, sorry for the long video. I hope it was insightful. I hope that you learned a little bit and that it made you, yeah, perhaps be more confident in starting to look into your own gut health and start your own journey to repairing it and improving, even if you technically don't have any problems, but just you can even check, maybe your gut health is perfect, I don't know. I hope that this helped, and I do want to share as much as possible on what I'm doing and whether it works for me or not. So if you want to see my journey and then you want to have, I don't know, some recipes ideas, or you want to just know how it's going, then please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and as well like this video if you find it useful. And yeah, and hopefully I will see you next time. Ciao!